so time to get started building this table for Fabtech. I went and got the metal last week, and so it's ready to go. Gonna bring it in my garage here and start cutting. This is gonna take a little bit. I don't have a saw of any nature at my house, so cut-off wheel it is. But we'll get her all cut up and ready to go. So if you don't have any pipe stands in your shop and you do some fabrication work, I highly recommend you get some. Even if you don't do pipe, these things come in handy. So I said this in the beginning of the video, but I don't have very much for tools, so I had to cut everything by a cutoff wheel, and that took a lot of time. So while I was designing this coffee table, I actually did some research on usual or typical sizes of coffee tables, and that is where I came up with the 46-inch by 26-inch size of table that I am cutting the pieces out for in this clip. So when I cut out the top pieces of my coffee table, I actually made them a little bit long. That way I had some room to do some grinding to make sure it fit up properly. And then it was obviously within my 46 by 26 inch dimension. So you'll see here I'm grinding those edges down, cleaning them up. So that way when I go to tack it, I've got good solid clean tacks. And then I'm going to use the edge of my table here to get it square. Alright, so you will notice that I put on yellow painter's tape on my pieces of angle while I was grinding on them. So I was actually doing that to make sure I could get my edges as straight as possible. That way when I was putting the pieces together, that helped keep it square. Alright, so I stopped the other day because I was at a quitting point and had some other things going on. But today it's like currently 106 degrees and I figured why not put on a long sleeve shirt and weld some things. So we're going to try to get this top all tacked together and if not all welded out. So let's get to it. So I got the two corners, so I did like two L's, so one short side, one long side, one short side, one long side, and I tacked one of those corners together. That way I knew all those were square, and then when I put it together, I just needed to get it square. So let me flip this around here. This is what happens when you don't have a big table. You make it work, but pipe stands are a must, in my opinion, even if you don't do pipe. Pipe stands come in handy. They're working as my table. So what I did here, I really need one more, but I don't have one more. So this is what we're working with here. So I clamped this together so it was level and flush. And then I went on each side and leveled it out. So theoretically right now this entire table is perfectly level. Next on the agenda is to make it square. Once it's all square, we tack it and weld it out. So here is this so far. So, like I said, I only tacked like a long piece, and then a short piece, and then a long piece, and a short piece. So, this corner and that corner over there are both tacked. So, I just need to get these two. But the biggest hurdle now is making sure that everything is square so we don't have a cattywampus coffee table, because we don't want that here. We are striving for it to be perfectly square, level, and all of that. So let's get to it. So once I got the top rectangle all the way completed, you'll see I start attaching legs. So that's what I'm doing here. You'll see later on, I actually run into some challenges. I didn't put all of the footage of me building the table in this because the bottom half of the table I ended up redoing. So I made it super complicated. Instead of just making two rectangles like the top is, I did all these funky cuts and whatnot, and I ended up cutting it all apart and just building two rectangles and then having those vertical pieces to connect the two. So the edge cup that I used to weld this entire project all the way out was the GL10. The GL10 is a good general purpose size for a TIG cup. Me being a welding instructor, I don't want to have 5 million different sizes in my shop, mainly because one, students destroy things super easily. But yeah, the 10 is a good size, especially if you're doing multiple different materials. You usually can get away with the GL10. Alright, so I got the legs cut out. They're all welded on. I'm going to weld the inside too, so it's welded all the way around. But I want to make sure that it's level. So we're going to undo it from it being level right now, like it's level as it sits on my table and my pipe stands. But we're going to see if it's legitly level when we put it on the ground. Everything should be level and square, but you know, heat does weird things to things, so let's check it out. Moment of truth, if this is level or not. Alright, let's see if she's actually level. Probably not the best spot to do it in. Oh! Ooh. Hell yeah, brother. I might be actually doing something right. She's level. No rocking whatsoever. Woo. That is what we call a win. I ran and got the polycarbonate for the tabletop because safety-wise they wanted that over glass. And so I got the thickness that I figured would work. And it has a little give in the middle. Like, here, let me show you. So here's the, it's clear. It just has the protective film on it. But like, it has ever slow slightly to give, and I don't necessarily want to put a support down the middle because I don't want to ruin the effect of being able to see the exhaust. So that being said, I think I'm gonna have to order a thicker piece of poly, pocket this one for something else. I don't know what, but that's what you learn, I guess, for doing trial and error stuff and never building furniture. So there's that. Gonna get that ordered now. I shot them an email, but they haven't answered, and it's been an hour or two, so I'm just gonna give them a call, see if they can hook me up within the next day or two, so then I can get this to Jesse ASAP. So here I am getting my table level to redo the bottom half of the table like I stated earlier. So I ended up getting more metal, and again, of course, the 46 by 26 inch size. And as you can see, I'm getting it all square, level, and tacked together. So these pieces that I'm drilling holes in are going to go on each corner on every side of the table. I wanted to go with more of an industrial theme, and I thought this added just that to the table. It's kind of hard to see in this image, but I ended up getting the color honey for the stain for the wood that's going to go on the bottom side of the table. It's kind of different being in this element. I don't deal with wood on a regular basis. I'm obviously a metal gal. I'm a welding instructor, but it was kind of cool to add some wood elements. Here are those plates that I was drilling holes in earlier. So each one of these plates, there are 16 of them. I actually all hand cut out with oxy-fuel cutting and then drilled the holes, obviously. And to bolt these to the angle iron, I ended up using carriage bolts. As you can see in this clip, I am wearing my absolute all-time favorite TIG gloves. These things are super comfortable. I wear a size small, and I get really good use out of these things, and you can actually get these on the Edge website. So right now I'm actually welding a nut onto a 1/4 inch, 2.5 by 2.5 inch square. This is going to go on the bottom side of the table. Now my table's level and square and all of that, so if you set it on the ground, it's fine. But that's only if the ground is level. We all know that there's, old houses, old buildings, yada yada yada, you get the point, that aren't necessarily level when it comes to the floor. So I wanted to have the option to be able to adjust the table so that way it wasn't wobbly. All right, here begins the fun part. So we actually asked every single Edge Army member to contribute something to be known for them being a part of the Edge Army. So their logo, their name, anything of that nature, that's what we asked for. And I gave them a business card size, so 2-inch by 4-inch was like their size restriction. As you can see, we've got a couple on there that are a little bit bigger, but I ended up cutting them down for them to fit perfectly. But I ended up just welding all of these on after I got the equal spacing in between each one. And this is when I started to see the light at the end of the tunnel. So I ended up buying some brackets already pre-made because I didn't want to have to worry about making them. I welded them to the inside of the angle, and then all I had to do was screw them in to the wood. All right, so got the wood installed. It's on there. So I didn't really think through the leg situation, so I put legs on here, and I made it so that, like, if your floor was not level, your table would at least be level. So did that, put some bolts in there for the legs, but when I went to go do that, I realized that my board wasn't going to fit in there, so I ended up actually having to take 2 of the legs off so I could slide the board in the bottom here, and then I welded the legs back on. But that's all done. I'm going to give this thing a quick wipe down. So originally I patinaed the metal, but I had some issues with it not getting completely dry, like it was tacky in some spots. So what I ended up doing was taking some lacquer or paint thinner, I can't remember which one it was, it's been a long week, and wiped it all down, got all the sticky residue off of here, and I'm going to wipe it down one more time, then we're going to give it its paint job. I'm going to make 2 little brackets to hold the exhaust, and this thing is headed to Kansas City in the morning, so as soon as I get done with work, I'm going to hop in my car, head to Kansas City. Kansas City is about a 3.5-hour drive for me, give or take. I'm going to take this thing to Jesse in the morning, and then he's the one that's going to be taking it to Fabtech, along with all the other Everlast stuff that he's got there. And yeah, I'm excited to finally see the end of this project. It was exhausting. There's a lot of things went wrong that could went wrong, like pretty much everything went wrong, but how do you learn if you don't make mistakes? So like let's cover some of my mistakes here. I've got freaking metal shavings all over my arms, which is not cool. Alright, so let's learn from my mistakes. So originally I built the bottom rectangle, right? And then I put the legs on it. I overcomplicated the bottom one because I kind of changed what I was going to do and had a minor like, oh crap, is this gonna work situation after I built it. And I ended up cutting off from the end of the leg here off because it just was a cluster. So originally the leg went all the way like to the full length or height of the table, and I didn't like that idea, so I ended up cutting it off 2.5 inches down, and then I just made another rectangle like I did the top, welded it to that. It went a lot smoother than what I was trying to accomplish before. This thing should be square. Last time I checked it was square. I don't think it would have changed after I welded it when I checked it, but should be square, should be ready to go. Get it flipped over, get this thing, I'm gonna clear this thing after I wipe it down, just have that coating, protective coating on there so it doesn't rust. And I'm gonna see if I can maybe get rid of these heat marks, which I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that before I paint it or not. I kind of touched it with the wire wheel, but it didn't do much. But yeah, do that, paint it, let it dry in the morning, load up my car, go to work in the morning, leave work, head to Kansas City, and it's finally done. Can't believe it, but here we are. All right, my back seat is empty, meaning I dropped off the table with Jesse here in Kansas City. So I made the 3.5 hour drive here after this morning. I had worked this morning a little bit, but yeah, it is now in the official hands of Jesse. He will be taking it along with Everlast's welders to Fabtech. So be sure to come check out the Edge and Everlast booth. I will put the booth number right here. If you attended last year, Edge and Everlast are in the same place. So all the cool people are going to be hanging out, doing weld demos. You can go and check out the schedule on our social media channels. And yeah, come check out my table. Come check out all the cool people that'll be hanging out. Come try an Everlast welder if you've never done so. And yeah, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you got any questions, comments, or concerns, drop it down below. And if you haven't subscribed to the Edge YouTube channel, be sure to do that. Turn on the little bell. I couldn't think of what it was called. Turn on the little bell so you can get notified every time we post. We post every Wednesday and Saturday. So stay tuned for the next video. We will see you on the next one.